ago, we didn't know how Facebook would weather the pandemic storm, whether the digital ad market would keep up. And here we are. What do we know now?
Well, we know a lot. We know that Facebook has definitely weathered the storm. Facebook actually got stronger in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. It's now verging on almost a quarter of the worldwide digital ad market. And we know based on the Q1 results that Facebook has continued to benefit from the pandemic, with ad revenue up 46% year over year, user gains as well, although not as strong as perhaps the ad revenue growth has been. And again, it's kind of hard to keep saying this quarter after quarter, but they keep beating expectations, and it's pretty remarkable.
And yet they say that there are headwinds coming, whether it's regulatory changes or platform changes or changes that Apple has made to its operating system that could impact ad tracking capabilities across the web. What do we know about how that will impact Facebook and how it is impacting Facebook so far?
Yeah, well, one thing we know is that Facebook pretty much always says every quarter that there are headwinds. So, and then they seem to beat those headwinds almost every quarter. So you have to take that starting with a little bit of grain of salt. That said, I do think, though, that what's going on with Apple, with the challenge of the changes that Apple is making with iOS 14.5, which is going to limit tracking and limit the ability of Facebook to know more about what it did before about what users are doing outside of the Facebook platform. I think that these are concerns that are weighing on Facebook, but at the same time, we're also seeing the company make a lot of strides in developing new ad products, in developing new measurement capabilities, and even e-commerce offerings that it's hoping that the company is hoping is going to help it to continue to fend off these challenges that Apple is proposing or is posing. Excuse me.
Meantime, we are around the world coming out of lockdown. What does that mean for Facebook and its family of products if people are spending less time online, or will they be?
That's something we've been talking about a lot internally, and we were expecting that Facebook usage would start to decline. The frequency of usage, the daily active usage, would start to decline after seeing a bump in the early part of 2020. That's pretty much started to happen in the U.S. and Canada, which is not unexpected on our part. We are still seeing gains in monthly active users in regions like the U.S. and Canada, in Europe, and they've also continued to show gains in Asia Pacific and the rest of the world region. So on that perspective, I think Facebook's family of apps is doing pretty well. And certainly Instagram is definitely growing. It's gaining audience, not only among young people, but increasingly among the Gen X and older. So it's building users there. WhatsApp, again, we don't have specific numbers from Facebook on how well WhatsApp is doing, but we do know that it is, and it remains to be, one of the most popular messaging platforms around the world. So when it comes to Facebook's position as a place to reach people, when you're thinking about it as an advertiser, it's still very powerful. And it still has a lock on a huge portion of the internet audience around the world.
How much does Facebook's brand reputation, though, concern you as a risk? Obviously more focused on Facebook, the Blue app in particular, less of a concern at Instagram. That coupled with competition from TikTok, how big a risk is it?
Yeah, I mean, it weighs on me, but it weighs on Facebook as well. And I think we're seeing it just in the past couple of weeks and months, Facebook saying that it's going to take more steps to do things like let people change up their news feeds to show more positive things or things that they're more interested in. Facebook is also trying to tamp down on that relentless onslaught of negative and divisive content that has plagued it for quite a long time. These things remain to be seen. This is not an easy challenge to try to change a news feed or to make it a better, more positive thing. It's something that Facebook has to do. And I think that if it can succeed in that, it's going to continue to attract users and continue to have people coming back. But I 100% agree. This is a big challenge. And you're right. TikTok is also a big challenge as well, especially for the younger audience.